Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? Today I'm interviewing Bird Dog Gaming. How's it going?
What's up, James? Is this the Nostalgia 64 himself?
Yes, it is.
Awesome.
So, yeah, I guess just introduce yourself a little bit.
My name's Christian. I am, I guess, the guy that runs the Bird Dog Gaming YouTube channel. I've been collecting video games for 7 years now, and it doesn't feel like it's been 7 years, honestly. Looking back at like 2015, it's pretty crazy that it's already been that long. But yeah, my channel pretty much focuses on collecting video games, retro and modern. Um, yeah, I am 26 years old and I love Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation, Sega. I love it all, man. Um, yeah, that's all I got for you.
Gotcha. I figured we'll just start with a simple question. How'd you get started with retro gaming?
Well, I think it all goes back to the roots. I started with the Super Nintendo, and I was about 3 years old. My dad and his brothers would play Street Fighter 2 a lot, and I think I just kind of inherited the console, and it was just always in my house. And I started playing Super Mario World at a very young age, and um, moved on to the N64 around 5, maybe 6 years old. Got the GameCube. And yeah, I'm not going to list every console, but I have always been playing video games. And I think the way a lot of people get into collecting is, or just retro gaming in general, is they just get nostalgic, right? I
Yep.
think that's the story for 90% of people, and the other 10% is probably investors, right? um, I think I've even in like middle school and high school, I would still go back to play like Super Mario World. I was always interested in going back to playing some of my favorite games from childhood. And I guess around 2015, I got a job. I got out of high school and I had like a little bit of a disposable income. And I was just like with one of my best friends, and she and I were like really, we were both kind of into the Super Nintendo. And just one day she came over and was like, hey, I'm going to bring my Super Nintendo games over. We should, let me show you some of the games I played as a child. And believe it or not, I had the Super Nintendo. Like I said, I'd never played Donkey Kong Country, and that was one of the games that she had brought over that night. And I think it kind of all started from that night. We played each other's games, and we were sharing them. And we both were working out of high school, and it was like, okay, well maybe we can spend a few dollars here and there on some old games. I bet this game is dirt cheap now, and I never got to play it when it released. Um, for whatever reason, Street Fighter 4 was like one of the first games I went back and bought, and the 360 was dead by 2015, right?
Mhm.
Um, but for whatever reason, I was just like nostalgic for Street Fighter 2 and decided that I wanted to go buy Street Fighter 4. Um, and I just distinctly remember that as being one of my first purchases, like towards my collecting slash retro gaming lifestyle that really began around 2015. Um, but yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, yeah, we all kind of get started in the same way. I would say with me, like my first gaming memory is just my dad coming home with the Dreamcast on 99.99. Just him playing it, unboxing it. Then I now of course got a chance to play it. Then for me after that it was the GameCube.
I feel like you have a nice history with that because most people did not grow up with the Dreamcast. I feel like so that's pretty cool, pretty unique.
Yeah, and when it comes to retro gaming, I actually found my dad's old copy of San Andreas, and that's basically how I got started. Like I could always play Three and Vice City, but never San Andreas, and I figured, hey, now that I'm sort of growing up, I can finally experience San Andreas, and yeah, that's how I got started.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no. Second question: how do you think you've evolved as a YouTuber?
I'm really sorry about these dogs, man. Do you want to take a quick second here to pause?
Sure.
Don't go away. Rugrats will be right back on Nickelodeon.
Plug the new Game Boy player into your Nintendo GameCube and play your favorite Game Boy games on the big screen, only for Nintendo GameCube.
Nickelodeon. Now back to Rugrats.
Nickelodeon.
I think we should just start the question over. Does that sound good?
And so my question was, how do you think you've evolved as a YouTuber?
As a YouTuber, I think I started the channel Bird Dog Gaming back in 2019, and I really only had my friends and well, that's not true. I had my friends to support me, of course, but I also had been in the Instagram gaming community since I had started collecting around 2015. I had found out that there were people posting pictures of old video games, and I was like, wow, I have a lot of old video games, and I'm starting to do this collecting thing now. Maybe I can get involved in that. And by the time I'd started this YouTube channel, I had several thousand followers, and luckily for me, I was able to use that platform to kind of boost the YouTube channel a little bit, and I felt like I really got started on the right foot. And so for the first year or so, I probably got myself up to 250 or 300 subscribers, nothing crazy, but still like something to be proud of. And I think it was after a year of being on YouTube, there was this crazy conspiracy going around about Cooking Mama Cookstar on Nintendo Switch. And it was very early on that I had heard about this. I don't remember where I originally heard about this rumor from, but basically the game had been listed on the eShop for like 5 minutes and then removed, and it was something crazy, and I just had a hunch that, IGN was going to be covering this. All the big major outlets were going to be covering this, and I decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to spend this entire day researching and finding as much information as I can, and then getting this video out tomorrow morning. And that's what I did. And that video freaking blew up. I got it out before all of the major sites that got it out. And that was like a turning point for the channel. Within about 3 months after that video released, the video, 100,000 plus views, and the channel got to 1,000 subscribers, which was pretty freaking awesome, because that's the point where you're kind of like quote unquote official, right? You can start to be monetized at that point. And yeah, that was a big deal for me. And aside from that, I have gotten an entire podcast going, and I have a little show that I do called Collective Perspective. And I think I have evolved quite a bit. I'm very proud of the progress that has been made. I've even started streaming weekly this year. This is like a lot further than I ever would have thought that I could get with this channel. So really happy with the progress.
Yeah, I've basically binge watched all of your videos, and I try to show up to the live stream from time to time. You produce great stuff.
Well, thank you, man. That really means a lot to me.
It's no problem. Now, speaking of very inexpensive, you're a big GameCube collector. Is that correct?
You are correct.
Yeah, I saw your video with the GameCube collection, and that is, I love the GameCube. It's just way too expensive to collect for nowadays. It's kind of crazy. But why is it that certain third-party games on the GameCube are just a lot more expensive? Like Simpsons Hit and Run, $30 on the Xbox, $40 on the PS2, fucking $70 on the GameCube. and there's this Animaniacs game. It's like $13 on the original Xbox, $30 on the PS2, $100 on the GameCube. Like, why is it? Why is it that some games just boost monetarily when it comes to the GameCube? I don't get that.
I just finished watching your video on cheap consoles to collect for in 2022, and so I totally, I knew the Animaniacs thing was coming. But Animaniacs is a very strange situation specifically, but I guess to broaden it up a little bit, I think that the Xbox and PS2 obviously sold way more than the GameCube, and that probably has something to do with it. But at the end of the day, what really matters is that neither of those two consoles have a Nintendo logo on them, and Nintendo always has the higher, you can call it the Nintendo tax on it, right? Like people are going to spend more to have Nintendo games, like no matter what. And is there any ration behind it? Probably not. You could say Nintendo's been around longer, they're the OGs, but I don't think that has anything to do with it. Funny enough, I actually started collecting the set because I felt like the PS2 and Xbox versions of games were far more common and far easier to collect for, and that was something I noticed in 2015 as an early collector. And I kind of just, I don't know, like I could have gone for any set, and I went for the GameCube because I wanted something that was kind of easy that I could actually find out in the wild, but I didn't want something as easy as Xbox or PS2. And I don't know. Another thing that comes to mind is the GameCube version of some of these games, probably a lot of these games, is probably the best way to play them. Maybe not first-person shooters, right? Nobody wants to play freaking Medal of Honor with that yellow C-stick that's so tiny, but I played Sonic Heroes on PS2, and it was terrible. It was such a glitchy mess, and I feel like it's definitely better on the GameCube, so I think there's probably a lot of that.
Yeah, it's just weird that some games just take off on the GameCube. I somewhat get it, but it's still ridiculous. Like Simpsons.
I wish I could explain it, man.
Like Simpsons Hit and Run. That is a reason. Excuse me, I can't talk today. That is a reasonably priced game on the PS2 and OG Xbox, but I'm not paying $70 for Simpsons Hit and Run on the GameCube. That's kind of out of my range.
It should definitely be out of everyone's range, but here I am spending way too much on crap like that.
No, I got you. But another collecting question. How much do you think retro gaming is a collector's mentality, investor's mentality, and just a gamer mentality?
I think that's actually a really good question. So if you're an investor, you're not in it for retro gaming. You're in it because you are trying to make money, and there's no gaming about it, right? Chances are, if you're a real investor, then you're collecting sealed games because you know that they're actually worth something. But so yeah, that's kind of my answer for the investor side of it. The other two, remind me what they were.
Collector's mentality and just a gamer mentality.
I think your gamer mentality is when you go onto the r/game collecting subreddit, you see people talking about, I only buy games that I want to play. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I think you have to draw the line and say, I'm not a collector, right? Like, a collector is going to end up with a wall full of games that he's never going to play, and he's okay with that. But the gamer mentality is like, yes, I'm buying this game and I'm going to play it. I don't know. I don't see myself playing the Hello Kitty game I picked up the other day on Game Boy Advance. Like I'm purchasing that to throw on my wall and collect dust until the day I die, and I'm okay with that. And I think that's the collector mentality for retro gaming. The difference between collector and investor is the collector is probably going to play his games. Maybe not all of them, maybe not even half of them. But if you're going to separate it into three tiers like that, I think you have the investor on the top that doesn't play, the gamer on the bottom, that says he collects or just straight up just plays games, and right in the middle is the collector, quote unquote, that is doing a little bit of both, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm a little bit of both when it comes to gamer and collector.
Right.
Like right, like right now, I'm getting rid of some games that I don't play because if I don't play them, why have them in my collection? Like, I'm getting rid of some games that I barely touch. But then again, like it's sort of weird. Like, I have a decent collection and I try to play all of it. Of course, there's some games I'll leave alone for a couple months, but it's I, I would say it's a very weird experience because there's honestly three types of people when it comes to this hobby. Obviously, there's the people that want to flip and make money. There's people that want to collect and have fun, and then there's the people that just want to, play games.
Yeah.
When it comes to sure, I could just boot up an emulator, play fucking, I don't know, Go Hyper Grind or some other
Animaniacs.
yeah, I could just boot up an emulator and play those games. But my thing is, I want to experience it on the real hardware. But of course, it's the tax when it comes to that.
Absolutely. And I don't know what it is about emulation, but I just can't get on board with it. If I want to go play Pocky and Rocky 2 on Super Nintendo, if I don't have the cartridge, right, then I have it on my hacked Wii, but for some reason I just can't get into it that way. And I've been trying to figure out what the reason is, but I am not 100% sure why. I'm just weird like that.
Yeah, like I would say an emulator is useful, when it comes to the one game that I legitimately want to try it out is Chibi Robot. That game looks good. It looks fun. It has a weird storyline that I want to play it. And of course, I've played it on emulator plenty of times, but it's not going to be like playing it, on the real GameCube.
Yeah, something about that original hardware, man.
Yeah, and I'm going to take a big fucking cut. I'm going to take a big cut when it comes to buying the real thing.
Yeah.
It's not cheap. But anyway, another question. Let's see. What games in your collection hold the most financial value versus the most personal value?
That's another great question. For sure, financially, is an easy one for me. I spent a lot of money purchasing my favorite video game ever, complete in box. It's called Super Mario World, and if you're wondering why it's expensive, if you're listening to this, it's obviously an extremely common video game, but the cartridge was packaged with the Super Nintendo, and finding the game complete in its regular Super Nintendo style box, not the console pack-in, but like an actual Super Nintendo box, it's gonna cost you a lot of money. And yeah, that is for sure the most expensive thing that I own, and the most I've ever spent on a video game simultaneously. And I don't want to say that is the one thing that holds the most value for me, nostalgically or personally, because it's not I don't know, I didn't grow up with the box, right? So maybe maybe that would be kind of a lame answer. That's a tough one, man. I'm not the type of person to hold on to I think I got rid of my childhood Pokemon Red because I upgraded to a nicer label. And I know a lot of people out there think that's blasphemy, right? You have to keep your original childhood copy. I've just never been like that. I guess something that I bring up a lot on my channel is the Powerpuff Girls and Dexter's Lab combo pack on the Game Boy Advance. There's 5 of them known to exist at the moment, and I actually did some serious research on that game. I found its existence. When I found the game, people had pretty much told me this thing doesn't exist, and you need to stop looking for it. You're wasting your time. And I ended up finding a copy on Amazon and proving that it was real. And I think that one holds a lot of personal value to me for that reason. That's kind of I feel like that's the one thing to the game collecting hobby that I've really contributed to right now. Like I literally found this game that was said to not exist, and I think I'm really proud of that.
Gotcha. I would say for me, monetary wise, and this isn't a lot, but I have, Mario Kart Double Dash,
Heck yeah.
Crash Bandicoot for the PS1, Black Label. For some reason, this one is expensive. I don't know why I don't know why it's expensive, but it is. It's going for around 70 right now, which is ridiculous. But
Wow.
I got Mario Kart, Crash, and in the Link's bonus game that came with the Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and the Inazuma Zelda games. This, I'll be honest, I paid way too much for this one. like
Nothing wrong with that.
Like the game right now is going for 70, and I paid 90.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I paid way too much. But one game that'll hold a lot of personal value in my collection is my childhood copy of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. I fucking loved this game as a kid. I put in thousands of hours into this game. Of course, on Chow Garden and stuff like that. But
Absolutely love that game.
And of course, I have my childhood copy. That means a lot to me.
So you didn't play Sonic Adventure 2 on Dreamcast?
No.
Gotcha.
The only games I played on Dreamcast back in the day was Crazy Taxi, Ready Rumble Boxing, and Weirdly Seaman.
Oh wow.
I don't know why my dad let me play that game back in the day, but yeah, for some reason I remember playing Seaman.
No one else can say they had that game growing up. That's pretty awesome.
All right, now another weird question. What is on your retro gaming bucket list?
To play or to collect?
I guess both.
Well, I did bring up Pocky and Rocky. I have never really played any of that series, and they look like freaking awesome games. I've pre-ordered the one coming to Switch any day now. I have no idea when this game's supposed to launch. But yeah, Pocky and Rocky Reshrined. I'd love to play okay, this is a weird one. I would say that this is on the bucket list because of how freaking expensive it is. It's the freaking Flintstones on NES, the Surprise at Dinosaur Peak. But I freaking love Flintstones, man. I am a Flintstones fanatic for sure, and I would love to collect all those games and play them all someday. As far as collecting goes, the most expensive 32X game out there is Spider-Man Web of Fire for sure, and I'm a big Spider-Man fan. I used to collect comic books, and I think that one is one of my most wanted games for sure.
Gotcha. I would say a big one for me is collecting the N64 Fantastic series.
Oh, that's awesome! Yeah.
And another one for me is to have a Magnavox Odyssey. It's weird. I want to play it, and I want to experience it. Not just because of the history, but I just want to play the games from back then.
Yeah, I totally get that. I have no experience with pre-Nintendo stuff, and that's kind of a downfall for me. I need to go and experience the pre-1980s stuff. I know there's some good stuff out there.
Well, I mean, back then it was like the cowboy era when it came to video game stuff. I mean, Sears was making a console. It was a bunch of weird stuff. I mean, Nintendo even made a Pong console, and ColecoVision, making an attachment to the ColecoVision to play Atari 2600 games. Like imagine that today, just PS4 releases an attachment to play Series X games. Stuff like that only could have happened during the 70s.
The Wild West.
Yes.
Yeah, very true.
A lot of underrated stuff from that era. But enough of that. So I'm curious, since you're a GameCube collector as well, how much are you stickler are you when it comes to completing box stuff? Do you want to have it you want to have it all complete in box, or are you okay with like the menu missing and stuff like that?
You know, James, I used to really not give a dang about CIB, and I've really changed my ways over the last couple of years. I used to look at the price difference between complete and missing manual and think, wow, that is absurd. Of course I'm going to buy it without the manual. I'll just find it later. That's not a thing. Let me tell you, you're going to end up spending more time and money trying to complete games later on if you go and buy them all missing the manual. And I'm at the point where unless it's a heck of a deal, I have to buy a complete in box. And by a heck of a deal, I mean like half off, you know. That's where I'm at with GameCube.
I mean, to be honest, I don't really mind when the manual is missing, but I actually have a story for you. I found Animal Crossing for a reasonable price. I said, hey, you could ring me up, but could you put the Animal Crossing game in a legitimate GameCube case? He's just like, nah, man, sorry, we're out. Like, you sure you can't just replace it with any? Yeah, no, sorry. And Animal Crossing just looks off from my whole collection because it's not in a legitimate case. It kind of just irks me a little bit.
Yeah. I get that for sure.
It does have the manual, but the manual isn't really bothering me too much. It's just, you know, just have all your games lined up properly, all in legitimate cases. You know, it looks good. And if one of them is off, it kind of just throws it off.
Yep, that's tough, man. I don't think I could live with it.
Yeah, same. And this kind of applies to different consoles, but same thing for the original Xbox. Like, you know, of course, it comes in that iconic green case. The thing that kind of irks me about that is you put a original Xbox game in a 360 case. That I know it doesn't matter, but it still kind of sticks out to me. Like,
it matters.
The 360 case is translucent. You know, you can see through it, but the original Xbox case is just solid green.
Yeah, sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yes. But speaking of boxes, what is your opinion on the repro boxes?
Repro boxes, I'm not a fan. I think that you look at, well, I don't know. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. I'm just not personally a fan of them. Anything reproduction, I cannot really get myself to purchase. I think they're cool. This is an example I brought up on my channel. If you collect loose Game Boy games and you don't know how the heck you're going to store them, I totally get why you would buy like custom cases, because sticking them in a drawer and trying to keep track of them. I mean, I have like 200-300 freaking loose cartridges in drawers right now, and it's awful. And I collect them complete in box, but I don't want to put them in their original box and then literally have to open up these cardboard boxes and take the game out every time I want to play them. So that's kind of a struggle that I can totally see why people do it. It's just not for me.
Yeah, I mean, I get it to an extent, you know, like repro games. Me personally, I couldn't do it. Let's just say somebody's making a repro game of Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cut. I somewhat understand, but I'm probably not going to buy that. Or Conker's Bad Fur Day. Like, if they do it to expensive games, sure, I completely understand. Boxes, I don't necessarily mind. Like, I have a bunch of loose N64 games, but my only thing is I'm going to buy an original box first before I buy, you know, repros. Like, I get it, but it's just not for me.
It's, you know, if you spend a few $100s getting your entire collection put into these plastic reproduction cases, I just look at that and I'm like, wow, I mean, you could have bought a handful of authentic cardboard boxes for those games, you know, and it would have upped the value of your collection quite a bit. But, you know, it depends which tier of collector you are, I think. And if you are just trying to play the games and have a game room that looks pretty, you know, I think a lot of people just don't care.
Have you reached a point in collecting where expensive stuff doesn't really attract you anymore?
Honestly, I would say quite the opposite. I used to look at things like what was expensive in 2015. I guess I guess, I mean, Cubivore has always been expensive. Gotcha Force, things like that. I used to look at them and think, wow, I don't know. I'm going to have to find that locally on OfferUp because I'm sure as heck not buying that on eBay. And I've really flipped my perspective. I'm okay with spending a lot of money on things. Definitely still trying to get the best deal that I can. But if you're a set collector going for every game in a video games library, you kind of have to swallow those hard pills and understand that you're gonna end up spending a lot of money on games. And yeah, I guess just as I've gotten a little bit older since I've been collecting, I've gotten more interested in the more valuable things, I would say.
I would say just me personally around that. I like nothing expensive stuff really doesn't like attract me anymore. Like I would say a few do, of course, Klonoa for the PS1, Cubivore, Chibi Robo, Go-Go Hypergrind, but those are games that I legitimately want to play. It's that like I said before, I would consider myself a little bit of a gamer and a collector, but the expensive games that are out there, I actually want to play instead of just collect.
Yeah,
that's just kind of my stance on it.
Yeah, I'd say that is a sane thing to do, and I am a little bit on the insane side of the spectrum for sure.
What is, in your opinion, the most underrated console, just in general?
Oh, you know what? The Sega Game Gear. People have slept on that console. I was sleeping on that console for forever. Definitely never heard of it before I started collecting. Turns out it's got some great games, and if you want to talk about the collectability, that console has some very rare titles. I think it is slept on in every way possible.
I mean, to be honest, I kind of agree with that. I actually want to get a Game Gear just to try it out, but I mean, I'm not like I want to try it out and get it, but I only want to get a couple games to try out, like Jurassic Park or that one Tales game for the Game Gear.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I just want to try it out, but I wouldn't really collect for the Game Gear. I would say for me, it's the OG Xbox. This console just doesn't get represented enough. Microsoft forgets this console exists sometimes.
I think you are 100% right. I think people are just so anti-Xbox out there that they just look at it and they think, wow, super non-collectible. And, Sega, Nintendo, Sony, they're all Japanese-based consoles. The Xbox, fully American, I think that already makes it lose some of its collectability right there.
Right.
But yeah, dude, I love me some Xbox all the way from the original to now. I think Xbox is awesome. I think, yeah, I totally agree. It's slept on for sure.
I mean, for me, it's up to the Xbox 360. After that, for me, Xbox kind of went downhill. But
fair.
But in my opinion, like I like just the OG Xbox in general. The startup, the menu, the weird nasty noises. Like everything about the OG Xbox is just awesome to me. Like think about it, right? You leave the GameCube idle, plays the Nintendo Famicom thing. PS2 is just calm oceans and waves. Original Xbox, leave that shit on for 3 hours, it'll start talking to you.
Yep.
This console just sticks out to me a lot. Like, look at the Duke controller. Like, no controller is really like that besides the Duke controller or the Dreamcast controller. I love this console a lot.
I like talking to somebody that can appreciate the Xbox. That's what I'm here for.
And I like it. All right, we're starting to wrap it up here, but do you think it's possible for somebody to get into retro gaming today, like from scratch?
Retro gaming, absolutely. I mean, we talked about emulation. Screw it, man. Just freaking don't spend any money on video games. Maybe get yourself any type of what is it called? The Raspberry Pi. Just do something easy. Save thousands of millions of dollars even. And yeah, anybody can get into retro gaming. The collecting, I mean, you have to kind of sit down and think about what it is that you like. Why do you want to collect? Are you interested in the history of the games? Are you interested in making a quick buck and flipping some games? Like, I think retro gaming, absolutely. Collecting, it's not for everyone, and that's why you see people get into the hobby for 2 years and bail out. You know, the games are always going up in value. Nothing ever really comes down in value, and so it doesn't matter if you started in 2000 or 2020. If it's been 2 years or 10 years, you're gonna look back and say, "Wow, this crap got expensive. I don't want to do this anymore." Yeah, I think it's definitely easier to get into the gaming side. A lot less easy to get into collecting.
And I mean, shit. Now, I don't know what the proper order to be. Now things are just so, I guess, volatile. Would be the word? Like shit's going up and down and up and down and up and down. Like just yesterday, right? Things are down. You know, things are down. Things are, at least from my collection. You know, I'm just constantly looking at price charting and stuff. But you know, things are down now. Today they're skyrocketing. Then next day they're down. Shit is just crazy right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, now just the last few questions. So, like I said, I listened to your podcast today, and I want to talk to you a little about the Wii U. So now, one other thing that I didn't want to talk about is the casual audience. I feel like the Wii definitely captured the casual audience very well, but the thing is, I don't think Nintendo kind of went with like the times. Because think about it, right? 2006 casual audience, they didn't have smartphones and iPhones and stuff like that. You know, they had flip phones and big fat CRTs. 2012 things sort of changed. You know, the casual audience from back then isn't sort of the casual audience now.
And you don't think that they followed the trends when they released the Wii U?
I mean, not really. I mean, like I said in the podcast, the Wii U's, Nintendo's always known for doing their own thing. You know, Sega Saturn, the PS1, CD technology, they're sort of, evolving. Nintendo 64 went with cartridges. Nintendo's always sort of stuck out.
Yeah, I agree. Hannah said it best in the podcast. By the way, I really appreciate you listening, man. That's awesome. But she said that Japan is kind of 10 years behind, and I mean, she has really studied Japanese, like not just the language, but the culture, and I believe her when she says stuff like that. But they don't try to be with the rest of the world per se, and I guess PlayStation is also Japanese, so that's kind of a tough argument to make. But the Wii U for sure was behind the times, and something else that she brought up in the podcast was they were really trying to ride the hype of the Wii, and I think they went overboard with that because calling it the Wii U was the biggest problem, right? They wanted to ride that wave so hard that they just added a letter onto the end of the title, and it ended up being a marketing failure. Love that console though, don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah. I mean, shit. Now Wii U stuff is kind of going crazy. Just like
it is.
And another console that I'd like to compare the Wii U to is the Dreamcast. Now, it's kind of weird, how the Wii U's kind of doing dual screen gaming with the Wii U pad and the TV. Sega was kind of doing that back in 1999 with the VMU.
Very true.
I feel like nobody really makes that correlation.
I have never thought about that actually, so that's a pretty good correlation.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Like with the VMU, you could train your little characters and Shenmue and Skies of Arcadia. With the Wii U, of course, the Wii U pad is doing one thing, the TV screen is doing another thing. Nobody really makes the connection.
I like that.
It's weird. I kind of thought of that today. Like I said, I was listening to the podcast in the background, and I thought, oh yeah, I'm playing some Dreamcast, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, you get I was looking at the VMU. I'm like, wait a minute. These two are kind of the same.
What were you playing on Dreamcast today?
I was playing Jet Set Radio.
Nice.
And I think. Oh no, there's one more. I went through all of my questions, but I have one more topic. What do you think of sealed games?
That is a good one. Man, I've said that a lot today. You got some good questions, James. I think sealed games are. I'm a little neutral about them. So I think you go on to Reddit and you see people absolutely trashing on people that collect graded games and sealed games. And I think that's dumb. I think that people like to say, wow, that copy of Pokemon Red that you have that is unopened, I could be playing that right now. But instead, you're holding on to it and raising the price of the market. And that is 100% not at all what is happening. If you want to play Pokemon Red, you're not buying a sealed copy and opening it. I don't care who you are. You would be an idiot to open that crap in 2022. And they're just totally different markets. Like, they might both be the same video game, a loose copy and a sealed copy, but even a complete copy is a different market from the guy that just wants to get his nostalgia fill, right?
Uh-huh.
If I get a sealed game, obviously not talking about modern games. If I get a sealed Switch game, I'm cracking it open. But if I get, for instance, a sealed Pokemon Red, I'm not opening that crap. I bought a Fire Emblem on Wii maybe 4 years ago, and it's sealed. I got it at a convention for $50. Well, I don't even care about Fire Emblem, but I do think that's a cool collectible to have. I also don't care about sealed games a whole lot, so my plan is to just sell that off one day and then use that money to buy a complete copy, and then use the extra money to buy more CIB video games. Like, I don't see the point in hating on people that have sealed games and graded games. I think you guys should just let them live their lives.
I sort of agree with you in some aspects and disagree with you in others. I mean, I think of sealed games as sort of an anomaly. Like, oh, how did this game stay sealed for so many years? And if it were me, of course, I'd crack it open and play it. But I definitely understand somebody that wants to keep it sealed. But graded games, that I extremely disagree with. But collecting sealed games, if that's your thing, that's your thing. That's sort of my stance on it. But graded games, I am not a fan of.
So you would open up a sealed Pokemon Red right now and play it?
Yes.
Wow. What a guy. Well, I apologize for offending you. I didn't even mean to do that,
Well, no,
man. That's crazy.
well, no, you're fine. It's just I don't know, like I have another story for you. Like, my dad found my old PSP games and he bought like MLB 2009 or 10 or something like that. It was still sealed, and I thought, hey, maybe I could keep this sealed for a couple years and sell it for more than it's worth. I got to be honest. A couple days into it, I'll rip it open and play it. And the thing is, it's a baseball game, so it's not really going to be worth a lot. But I don't, even if it's still, I still want to play it. Just the urge to rip the seal, even if it's like, let's just say somebody finds Animal Crossing for the GameCube sealed. If that were the case, I'd definitely rip it open because Animal Crossing is a good game. But
Yeah.
I think when people collect sealed games, they're not thinking of it. They're not thinking of the game, just thinking of it as a collector's thing. And granted, that's not bad either, because I mean, let's just be honest. As much as prices are going up, money makes the world go round. But but again, some people think of money more than others. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And my apologies if I'm stuttering and mumbling a lot in this. I'm just passionate about this.
Oh, you're good, man. Yeah, I'm glad that we can have opposite opinions and, not fight about it. I appreciate that.
Well, yeah, man, everybody has different opinions.
Not everybody can handle that, though.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't know. The retro gaming, a lot of people are passionate about this, but I feel like passion can take people into different ways. And granted,
For sure.
I could be that way sometimes soon. Actually, this is kind of weird, but when it comes to emulation versus the real thing, me and a buddy of mine, Sam, we sit up till fucking 4 a.m. arguing over this. He's just like, oh no, emulation is better. You get more of this, and that. Like, yeah, but it's not better than the real experience. Me and a buddy of mine were arguing over that, all just going all night with that. But yeah, passion. As much as people love the stuff, and again, I love the stuff as well. It can lead you down a good path or a dark path. It all depends on which way you go. Just like what the triangle said, just like with the pyramid, like you said before. There's the investor at the top, collector in the middle, game at the bottom. And now see all three of those kind of clash.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all video games, but different factions, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, not to say that the investment, well, not necessarily investment, but like as much as some of us don't like it, this stuff is actually, worth money. This happened to the trading card industry, the comic book industry. And unfortunately, as much as things start from like a good place, like, people started collecting baseball cards because, they're nostalgic about it. Just different things, different collectible things. People started it because, they like it. They feel nostalgic about it. And not to say that this is necessarily a bad thing, but people, like to monetize stuff. You think about it, why do you think we get like so many remakes and stuff like that today? Because people want to capitalize on it. I don't know why Nintendo doesn't capitalize on it, because I mean, just imagine the whole GameCube library on Switch right now. I don't know why Nintendo does that, but Nintendo's Nintendo.
They got a game plan for sure. They got some cards up their pockets, no doubt about it.
Yeah, most definitely. But my bad for that ramble. You want to say anything else?
James, nobody has ever asked me to do an interview, so I just have to say thank you, man. It was really awesome to be here. You're a great guy to talk to, and yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Hey, it's no problem. If you want to go check out Bird Dog Gaming, they produce great stuff. I like the collector's perspective, and I like the podcast. And yeah, just go check them. All right, man. Everybody, if you want to, like, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. No rush, and tell me down below. What's your favorite GameCube game? Tell me down in the comments, and I'll see you guys later. Do you want to say any goodbyes or anything like that?
Thanks for listening, guys.
Oh, actually, shit. I'm sorry. One more thing. Well, do you have any future videos to find out?
The post-credits scene right here. Any future? Okay, so I don't know when the Ninja Turtles compilation is coming out. The one with all of the old school games on one disc or whatever. The Cowabunga collection, that's what it's called. I don't know when that's coming out, but I would like to make a video kind of discussing the collectability of all of those individual games, on their original authentic physical releases. And yeah, I've been thinking about doing that a lot lately, so that's my answer to that.
Actually, I think I said this in a live stream, but I'm surprised they don't really represent, the stuff from the 2000s, like the TMNT games on the GameCube and stuff like that. I feel
they have to be sitting on it for a modern collection to make even more money off of us.
Yeah, it's just, if you're going to throw a TMNT collection together, why not just throw all of them all in one?
Oh, I'm with you, man.
But alright, sorry to go on that ramble, but yeah, well, see you guys later, man. Peace. Again, do you want to say anything else?
Nah, man. Thanks for listening, guys.
Alright, see you guys later.